Hello, my friends, and welcome back to your daily dose of English, the podcast where you learn real English slowly, clearly, and confidently. I'm Jessica, and I'm so happy you're here today. In this episode, we're going to talk about something very important for real conversations: how to express your opinions and how to agree or disagree with others in English. These are skills you need every single day. At work, with friends, in shops, online, everywhere. Many learners know a lot of English words, but when it's time to share their opinion or respond to someone else's idea, they don't know what to say. They feel stuck. They stay quiet. But not anymore. Today, I will teach you simple, natural phrases that native speakers use all the time. We will practice together. You will listen, you will repeat, and you will learn step by step. As always, I speak slowly and clearly, so you can shadow my voice and practice your speaking. So find a comfortable place, relax, take a deep breath, and let's begin. All right, let's start with a simple question. Why is it important to express your opinion in English? Well, first, it helps you join conversations. When people talk, they share ideas. They ask questions. If you can't express your opinion, you just listen. You can't participate fully. That doesn't feel good. Second, expressing your opinion shows confidence. It shows you have something to say. It shows you are part of the conversation. People respect that. Third, it helps you make connections. When you share your thoughts, people understand you better. They know what you like, what you think, what you believe. This builds relationships. But here's the thing, my friend. You don't need perfect English to share your opinion. You don't need fancy words. You just need simple, clear phrases. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today. By the end of this episode, you will know how to say what you think, how to agree with someone, and how to disagree politely. You will sound natural, confident, and respectful. So let's get started. Okay, let's begin with the basics. How do you express your opinion? In English, there are many ways to do this. Some are more formal, some are more casual. Let me teach you the most common and useful phrases. Let's start with the simplest one. I think. I think. This is the most common way to share your opinion. It's simple, it's natural, and you can use it anywhere. For example, I think this movie is great. I think this movie is great. Now you repeat. Let me give you another example. I think we should leave now. I think we should leave now. This means, in my opinion, it's a good idea to leave now. I think we should leave now. Now you repeat. One more example. I think she's really talented. I think she's really talented. This means I believe she has a lot of skill. I think she's really talented. Now you repeat. Very good, you see? It's not difficult. The phrase I think is your best friend. You can use it in almost any situation. Now let's look at another useful phrase. In my opinion, in my opinion. This phrase is a little more formal than I think, but it's still very common. We use it when we want to be clear that we are sharing our personal view. For example, in my opinion, this is the best restaurant in town. In my opinion, this is the best restaurant in town. This means I personally believe this restaurant is the best. In my opinion, this is the best restaurant in town. Now you repeat. Here's another example. In my opinion, learning English takes time and patience. In my opinion, learning English takes time and patience. This means I believe that learning English requires time and patience. In my opinion, learning English takes time and patience. Now you repeat. Excellent work. Now let's learn another phrase. I believe, I believe. This phrase is similar to I think, but it sounds a little stronger. When you say I believe, it shows you feel more certain about your opinion. For example, I believe everyone should travel at least once. I believe everyone should travel at least once. This means I strongly think everyone should experience traveling. I believe everyone should travel at least once. Now you repeat. Another example. I believe honesty is very important. I believe honesty is very important. This means I feel strongly that being honest matters a lot. I believe honesty is very important. Now you repeat. Great job. Now let's look at a more casual way to express your opinion. I feel like, I feel like. This is very common in everyday conversation. It's friendly and relaxed. For example, I feel like we should try that new cafe. I feel like we should try that new cafe. This means I have a feeling or sense that we should go there. I feel like we should try that new cafe. Now you repeat. Here's another one. I feel like this book is really helpful. I feel like this book is really helpful. This means in my personal feeling, this book gives good help. I feel like this book is really helpful. Now you repeat. Perfect. Now let's talk about another phrase. If you ask me. If you ask me. We use this phrase to share an opinion that maybe nobody asked for, but you want to say it anyway. It sounds friendly and conversational. For example, if you ask me, that movie was too long. If you ask me, that movie was too long. This means, in my opinion, even though you didn't ask, I think the movie was too long. If you ask me, that movie was too long. Now you repeat. Another example. If you ask me, he should apologize. If you ask me, he should apologize. This means I personally think he needs to say sorry. If you ask me, he should apologize. Now you repeat. Wonderful. Now let's learn another useful phrase. The way I see it. The way I see it. This is a nice way to introduce your perspective or your point of view. For example, the way I see it, hard work always pays off. The way I see it, hard work always pays off. This means, from my perspective, working hard always brings good results. The way I see it, hard work always pays off. Now you repeat. Here's one more. The way I see it, we need to start planning now. The way I see it, we need to start planning now. This means, from my viewpoint, we should begin planning right away. The way I see it, we need to start planning now. Now you repeat. Excellent work. So let's review quickly. To express your opinion, you can say I think, in my opinion, I believe, I feel like, if you ask me, or the way I see it. All of these phrases are natural and useful. Choose the one that feels right for the situation. Now let's move to the next part. How to agree with someone. Okay, now let's talk about agreement. When someone shares an opinion and you agree, what do you say? Let's learn the most common phrases. The simplest way to agree is to say, I agree. I agree. This is clear and direct. For example, someone says, I think this restaurant is excellent. You reply, I agree. I agree. Now you repeat. You can also add more information. I agree. The food here is amazing. I agree. The food here is amazing. This means yes, I share your opinion. And the food is really good. I agree. The food here is amazing. Now you repeat. Good. Now let's learn another common phrase. Exactly. Exactly. This means you agree completely. You think the same way. For example, someone says, learning English every day is important. You reply, exactly. Exactly. Now you repeat. You can also say exactly with more words. Exactly. That's what I think too. Exactly. That's what I think too. This means yes, I completely agree with you. Exactly. That's what I think too. Now you repeat. Perfect. Now let's learn another phrase. That's true. That's true. We use this to agree with a fact or a statement. For example, someone says, English can be difficult sometimes. You reply, that's true. That's true. Now you repeat. You can expand it. That's true. It takes a lot of practice. That's true. It takes a lot of practice. This means yes, I agree, and it requires practicing a lot. That's true. It takes a lot of practice. Now you repeat. Excellent. Now let's look at another phrase. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a strong way to agree. It means you agree 100%. For example, someone says, we should leave early to avoid traffic. You reply, absolutely. Absolutely. Now you repeat. You can say more. Absolutely. Let's leave at 8. Absolutely. Let's leave at 8. This means yes, I completely agree. And let's go at 8 o'clock. Absolutely. Let's leave at 8. Now you repeat. Very good. Now here's another useful phrase. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. This means you agree so much that you cannot agree any more than you already do. It's a strong agreement. For example, someone says, this podcast is really helpful for learning English. You reply, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Now you repeat. Here's another example. Someone says, we need more time to finish this project. You say, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Now you repeat. Wonderful. Now let's learn a casual way to agree. You're right, you're right. This is simple and friendly. For example, someone says, it's really cold today. You reply, you're right, you're right. Now you repeat. You can add more. You're right. I should have worn a jacket. You're right. I should have worn a jacket. This means yes, I agree with you, and I regret not bringing a jacket. You're right. I should have worn a jacket. Now you repeat. Great job. So to agree with someone, you can say, I agree. Exactly. That's true. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, or you're right. These phrases help you show that you share the same opinion. Now let's move to the next important part. How to disagree politely. Okay, now this is very important, my friend. Sometimes you don't agree with someone, that's completely normal. But in English, we try to disagree politely, especially with people we don't know well, at work, or in formal situations. You don't want to sound rude or aggressive. You want to be respectful. So let me teach you how to disagree in a polite and natural way. The first phrase is I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure I agree. This is a soft way to disagree. You're not saying the other person is wrong. You're just saying you have a different opinion. For example, someone says, I think we should cancel the meeting. You reply, I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure I agree. Now you repeat. You can explain more. I'm not sure I agree. I think we should still meet. I'm not sure I agree. I think we should still meet. This means I don't share your opinion, and I believe we should continue with the meeting. I'm not sure I agree. I think we should still meet. Now you repeat. Good. Now let's learn another polite phrase. I see what you mean, but. I see what you mean, but. This phrase shows that you understand the other person's opinion, but you have a different view. For example, someone says, "This movie was boring." You reply, "I see what you mean, but I actually enjoyed it." I see what you mean, but I actually enjoyed it. This means I understand why you think that, but my opinion is different. I see what you mean, but I actually enjoyed it. Now you repeat. Another example. Someone says, "We should start the project next month." You say, "I see what you mean, but I think we should start now." I see what you mean, but I think we should start now. Now you repeat. Excellent. Now let's look at another phrase. I understand, but I think. I understand, but I think. This is similar to the last one. It shows respect before you share your different opinion. For example, someone says, "Learning English is impossible." You reply, "I understand, but I think it's possible with practice." I understand, but I think it's possible with practice. This means I hear your feeling, but I believe it can be done. I understand, but I think it's possible with practice. Now you repeat. Very good. Now let's learn another useful phrase. I have a different opinion. I have a different opinion. This is clear and direct, but still polite. For example, someone says, "I think we should buy the blue car." You reply, "I have a different opinion. I prefer the red one." I have a different opinion. I prefer the red one. This means my view is not the same as yours. I have a different opinion. I prefer the red one. Now you repeat. Perfect. Now here's another phrase. That's one way to look at it, but. That's one way to look at it, but. This phrase acknowledges the other person's viewpoint before you share yours. For example, someone says, "Social media is a waste of time." You reply, "That's one way to look at it, but I think it can be useful." That's one way to look at it, but I think it can be useful. This means I respect your perspective, but I see it differently. That's one way to look at it, but I think it can be useful. Now you repeat. Great. Now let's learn a phrase for when you want to add a different point. Yes, but. Yes, but. This is simple and common. You agree with part of what they said, but not all of it. For example, someone says, "This restaurant has good food." You reply, "Yes, but it's very expensive." Yes, but it's very expensive. This means I agree about the food, but I don't agree it's worth the price. Yes, but it's very expensive. Now you repeat. Another example. Someone says exercising is important. You say yes, but you also need to rest. Yes, but you also need to rest. Now you repeat. Wonderful. Now let's look at another phrase. I'm afraid I disagree. I'm afraid I disagree. This is more formal and very polite. We use it in professional situations. For example, someone says, "I think we should reduce the budget." You reply, "I'm afraid I disagree. I'm afraid I disagree." Now you repeat. You can explain further. "I'm afraid I disagree." "I think we need more funding." "I'm afraid I disagree." "I think we need more funding." This means respectfully, "I don't agree." And "I believe we need more money." "I'm afraid I disagree. I think we need more funding." Now you repeat. Excellent work. So when you disagree politely, you can say, I'm not sure I agree. I see what you mean, but I understand, but I think I have a different opinion. That's one way to look at it. But, yes, but. Or I'm afraid I disagree. These phrases help you share a different view without being rude. Now let's talk about something important. When you disagree, always try to give a reason. Don't just say no or I disagree. Explain why. This makes your opinion stronger and helps the other person understand your point of view. For example, don't just say, I don't agree. Instead, say, I don't agree because I think we need more time. I don't agree because I think we need more time. Now you repeat. Another example. Don't just say that's not true. Instead, say, I don't think that's true because the data shows something different. I don't think that's true because the data shows something different. Now you repeat. Giving reasons makes your opinion sound more thoughtful and respectful. It also helps the conversation continue in a positive way. Now let's talk about tone and body language. This is very important, my friend. It's not just about the words you use. It's also about how you say them. You can say the same words in a friendly way or in a rude way. The tone of your voice matters a lot. When you express your opinion or disagree, speak calmly and gently. Don't raise your voice. Don't sound angry or impatient. Even if you feel strongly about something, stay calm. For example, if someone says something you don't agree with, don't say, that's wrong, no. Instead, take a breath and say, I see your point, but I think differently. I see your point, but I think differently. Now you repeat. Also, if you're speaking face to face, smile a little. Nod when the other person is talking. Show that you're listening and you respect their opinion even if you don't agree. These small things make a big difference. Remember, the goal is to have a conversation, not an argument. You want to share ideas, not fight. Okay, now let's practice everything together. I will give you a situation and I will show you how to respond. Are you ready? Let's go. Situation 1. Your friend says, I think English grammar is too difficult. You want to disagree politely. You can say, I see what you mean, but I think it gets easier with practice. I see what you mean, but I think it gets easier with practice. Now you repeat. Situation 2. Your colleague says, we should finish this project by Friday. You agree. You can say, I couldn't agree more. Let's start working on it today. I couldn't agree more. Let's start working on it today. Now you repeat. Situation 3. Someone says, I believe working from home is better than working in an office. You have a different opinion. You can say, I understand. But I think working in an office helps with teamwork. I understand, but I think working in an office helps with teamwork. Now you repeat. Situation 4. Your friend says, this TV show is amazing. You agree. You can say, absolutely. I've been watching it every week. Absolutely. I've been watching it every week. Now you repeat. Situation 5. Someone says learning a language in 1 month is possible. You disagree. You can say, I'm not sure I agree. I think it takes much longer. I'm not sure I agree. I think it takes much longer. Now you repeat. Great work. Now you're practicing real conversations. Keep doing this. Think about different situations and practice what you would say. Now, let me give you a few more useful tips. First, practice these phrases every day. Say them out loud. Use them in conversations. Write them in your notebook. The more you practice, the more natural they will feel. Second, listen to native speakers. Watch movies. Listen to podcasts. Pay attention to how people agree and disagree. Notice the phrases they use. Try to copy them. Third, don't be afraid to express your opinion. Many learners stay quiet because they're afraid of making mistakes. But mistakes are okay. People want to hear what you think. Just try your best. Fourth, be respectful. Always remember that everyone has different opinions. That's normal. That's good. Listen to others. Respect their views, then share yours politely. And finally, remember this, my friend. Having an opinion and sharing it is part of being confident. It's part of being you. When you learn to express yourself in English, you're not just learning a language. You're learning to communicate, to connect, to be heard. So speak up. Share your thoughts. Agree when you agree. Disagree when you disagree. Just do it with kindness and respect. All right, my friend, that's the end of today's episode. You did an amazing job. You learned how to express your opinion, how to agree, and how to disagree politely. You practiced real phrases that native speakers use every day. These skills will help you in every conversation, at work, with friends, online, everywhere. I'm so proud of you for being here, for listening, for practicing, for trying. You're building something important. You're building confidence. You're building communication skills. You're building your English one sentence at a time. So keep going, keep listening, keep speaking, and most of all, keep believing in yourself. This is English Unleashed, and I'm Tom. Thank you for learning with me today. Until next time, bye for now.